If you're the woman who was told to be practical, to be smaller, to be realistic, if someone once sat across from you and calmly explained why your dreams didn't see, this is for you, especially if you're up past midnight, earbuds in, wondering if it's too late to become who you were supposed to be. Hey, I see you. My name is Isabella Marquez Caldwell. I grew up in El Paso, Texas, in a family where the women were strong but small, strong in endurance, small in ambition. In our house there was this unspoken rule. Actually, no, it was very spoken, that Marquez women marry steady men, support their careers, raise polite children, and never embarrass the family by chasing fantasies. My abuela used to say it, while rolling tamales at the kitchen table, flour dusting her knuckles like soft snow. Dreams are for girls, she'd say. Security is for women. And I believed that. Oh, I believed that. I married Daniel Caldwell at 26. He was a corporate litigator in Dallas, crisp suits, sharper jawline, the kind of man who corrected waiters' grammar. I was working in publishing then, editorial assistant at a small independent press. Books were my oxygen, manuscripts in messy stacks, red pen tucked behind my ear, coffee rings on every surface. Daniel used to laugh at that. Cute hobby, he'd say when I stayed up editing. It wasn't a hobby, but I let it become one. When we moved for his promotion, I left my job. Temporarily, he said, until we have kids. We never had kids. Not for lack of trying, but somehow my career still never restarted. I freelanced. Quietly, invisibly. Ghost editing manuscripts that went on to become bestsellers with other women's names on the cover. Then came the divorce. 8 years in, Daniel decided he needed someone more aligned. That's what he called the paralegal he'd been sleeping with. In court, under fluorescent lights that made everything look sickly and exposed, he told the judge I had no viable career prospects. He said I'd been unemployed for years, that my earning potential was minimal at best. Minimal. I can still hear the scratch of his lawyer's pen as they slid financial projections across the table. My own attorney squeezed my knee under the table like that would steady me. He took the house, the investment accounts, even the damn espresso machine I'd bought with my first freelance check, and when the gavel came down, I walked out with 2 suitcases, a used Honda, and a settlement that felt like a tip. Have you ever sat in your car after something like that and just stared at the steering wheel, like your entire life had been quietly erased? Drop a comment if you know that numb, buzzing silence. I swear it's louder than screaming. I moved back to El Paso, back into my childhood bedroom with the pale yellow walls. That's where my niece, Sophia, comes in. The first time she appears in this story, she's 9, all elbows and big brown eyes. She'd sit cross-legged on my bed while I unpacked boxes. "Tia Bella?" she asked once, holding up one of the manuscripts I'd edited. "Did you write this?" "No, mija," I said. "I just helped." She frowned. "But your name isn't on it." "Exactly. The second time Sophia matters, she's 11. We're at my cousin Marisol's engagement party. Sophia's in a stiff white dress, and I overhear my aunt tell her, "One day you'll marry a doctor and won't have to worry about silly things like jobs." Sophia's smile faltered, just for a second. Later that night, she crawled into bed beside me and whispered, "Tia, do girls have to get married?" My throat burned. "No," I said. "Girls get to choose." But I hadn't chosen. I had complied. So I started writing. Not editing. Writing. At first it was just late at night, the desert air cool through my open window, the smell of creosote drifting in. I'd sit at the old oak desk my dad built in high school shop class and pour everything out. The humiliation in that courtroom, the way Daniel's voice never rose yet still managed to crush me, the silence of being financially dependent. I wrote about women like us. Invisible. Intelligent. Underrated. I didn't tell anyone. Not even Sophia. Years passed. I worked 3 jobs. Freelance editing, tutoring, and part-time at a community college teaching publishing basics. I saved every check. I built an LLC. I registered copyrights. I learned contract law the way some people learn recipes. Methodically, obsessively. Quiet sacrifice is boring to watch. There's no montage music. It's just you and your doubt at 2 a.m. Have you ever built something in secret because you were afraid people would laugh if it failed? Be honest. By the time Sophia was 14, she had my old laptop. She'd started writing short stories. One afternoon she came home crying because a teacher told her creative writing wouldn't her wang anywhere practical. I felt something in me shift. Not crack. Not explode. Shift. The third time Sophia appears. The breaking point. She's 16. We're at Sunday dinner. My brother is telling her she should focus on something reliable. Engineering, maybe. Writing is unstable, he says. Look at your aunt. He doesn't mean it cruelly. That's the worst part. Sophia's eyes flick to me. Apologetic. Embarrassed. And I see it. The shrinking. The inheritance of smallness. That night she knocks on my door. Did you ever want more? She asks. I don't answer right away. I open my desk drawer instead and show her a contract. A real one. A publishing deal. Because 6 months earlier, after querying under my full name, Isabella Marquez Caldwell, no hiding, a mid-size New York imprint bought my manuscript at auction. A novel about a woman who rebuilds after being financially erased by her husband. Oh, the irony. But here's where it gets structural. Legal. Unarguable. Daniel and I shared no children, but we still had one final court appearance, a post-divorce, financial review tied to deferred asset disclosures from his firm. It was mostly procedural. I asked my lawyer to file my updated financial affidavit, with my advance, with projected royalties, with my registered publishing company, now incorporated in Texas. It wasn't about money anymore. It was about the record. Now we're at the return. The courthouse smelled like lemon disinfectant and old paper. The air conditioning was too cold, humming overhead. I wore navy, tailored, simple, not flashy. My hair down, soft waves. A small gold necklace Sophia gave me for my birthday resting at my collarbone. Daniel was already there, still sharp, still composed. He glanced at me and did a double take, not because I looked different, but because I didn't look broken. We sat at opposite tables. My lawyer slid the updated documents across to his counsel first. I watched Daniel's attorney scan the page. Her eyebrow twitched. She leaned toward him, whispered. Daniel frowned, reached for the papers himself. There's a very specific sound high-quality paper makes when it's turned slowly. Thick, deliberate. Flip, flip. His jaw tightened. Projected first-year royalties, mid-six figures. Foreign rights pending. Film option under negotiation. LLC valuation, attached. He looked up at me then. For the first time in years, there was no condescension. Just recalculating. The judge adjusted her glasses. Ms. Jatz Caldwell, she said. It appears your financial circumstances have changed significantly. Yes, Your Honor. My voice didn't shake. Not even a little. Daniel's lawyer cleared her throat. We were under the impression Ms. Marquez Caldwell had limited earning capacity. I felt the ghost of that word again. Minimal. I folded my hands on the table. That assessment was incorrect. Silence. The kind that stretches. The judge reviewed the documents. This publishing contract is valid and executed? Yes, Your Honor. And these entities are solely in your name? Yes. Daniel finally spoke. Bella? I turned my head slowly. Calmly. It's Isabella, I said. Not sharp. Not loud. Just accurate. Do you know what power feels like when it's quiet? It feels like steady breathing. Like not rushing to fill the silence. Like letting the facts sit there and do the talking. The judge finalized the amended financial record. No adjustments in his favor. No leverage left to pull. On paper, in a court of law, I was officially, indisputably, a successful author and business owner. No career prospects. I almost laughed. When we stood to leave, Daniel stepped closer. Why didn't you tell me? He asked. I looked at him, really looked. At the man who once measured my worth in projected earnings. Because, I said gently, you already decided who I was. And I walked out. Outside, the Texas sun was blinding, heat rising off the pavement in visible waves. Sophia was waiting on the courthouse steps, clutching a copy of my book. The cover was matte, my name embossed in gold. My real name. She held it up like proof. They have it at Barnes & Noble, she said, breathless. Front table. I took the book from her, ran my fingers over the letters. Marquez Caldwell. I kept his name, not out of loyalty, out of authorship, because it's mine now. Sophia slipped her hand into mine. I'm submitting my story to a contest, she whispered. And in that moment, the symbol that tied everything together wasn't the contract or the court order. It was that book in her hands. Physical, heavy, undeniable. Security is for women, my abuela used to say. She was right. She just didn't know security could come from yourself. If this story sat somewhere deep in your chest, if you've ever been underestimated in a room full of authority, subscribe to Her Untold Revenge and share this with the woman who's building something quietly. the one they think has no prospects. Let them think that. Sometimes the most devastating return isn't loud. It's documented.